my throat. The book, it's a hardcover. And it has that linen texture that similar to decks of playing cards. So it makes some nice scratching sounds. And it was published by Publications International Ltd. I guess that's what it says on the back. Yeah. It doesn't have an author on the cover. I don't know who put it together. It lists Louis Weber or Weber, the CEO of Publications International. Yeah, so there's 22 chapters. And chapter 1 is movies and television. Chapter 2 is American landmarks. Chapter 3 is about games. 4 is art and literature. 5 is all about animals. Chapter 6 is money and business. 7 is intriguing individuals. Chapter 8 is Earth and the Universe. Chapter 9 is Waging War. Chapter 10 is Happy Holidays. Chapter 11 is Pop Culture and Games. Chapter 12 is about the supernatural. Chapter 13 is about history. Chapter 14 is around the world. Chapter 15 is about technology and inventions. Chapter 16 is about death in the macabre. How do you say that right? That word? Chapter 17 is about politics. 18 is crime. 19 is about health and the human body. 20 is about music. Chapter 21 is food and drink. And the final chapter, 22, is about religion. And then there's the index. And there is an introduction here. Let me scoot in a bit here. You can never get enough unusual knowledge. From the day we're born, we know to eat, sleep, and seek comfort whenever possible. In school, we're taught the basics about how the world works. But sometimes we just need to dig a little deeper. That's where the Book of Unusual Knowledge comes in. The stories within this volume shed some light on the extraordinary things that the human mind can conceive. You'll discover amazing information about animals and intriguing tidbits about some of today's most revered institutions. What could cause a man to bury 10 Cadillacs nose down in a pasture? Why did the King of Prussia assemble an elite infantry unit composed entirely of unusually tall men? Find the answers to these questions in the pages that follow. You'll also read about Hollywood's urban legends, from Humphrey Bogart as the Gerber baby, to the odd connections between The Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. Moe Berg, the former big league catcher who became a vital U.S. spy during World War II. A variety of odd hotels, including one that's made entirely out of ice, and one that's completely underwater. The odd lives of aviation innovator Howard Hughes, American King James Strang, and jazz musician Billy Tipton, and much more. So sit back, relax, and expand your perception of what's feasible. The Book of Unusual Knowledge may just help you see the world and the people in it in ways that you never have before. Okay. So I guess we'll just start from the beginning here, I guess. Okay. Chapter 1. This is page 8 of, again, the Book of Unusual Knowledge. Movies and television. Exiles in Hollywood. European cinematic talents found a new home in California and, thanks to Warner Brothers, made one of the best films in movie history. Fans of classic American cinema might be surprised to learn that many of their favorite films from the 1930s and 40s benefited from a wave of immigration sparked by the rise of Nazis in Europe, leading lights from the period, including Peter Lorre, Marlene Dietrich, Billy Wilder, Otto Preminger, and Fritz Lang came to Hollywood not only to ply their craft, but to escape Nazi Europe. Many had been lured to California in the 20s by the wealth and technical sophistication of the Hollywood system. After the rise of the Nazis, however, some of those who had previously worked in the European film industry sought safety as well as employment in Hollywood, searching for a safe haven. The 1938 Anschluss, I don't know how to say that word, in which Germany annexed Austria, convinced many Europeans that Nazism would not be averted. But in March, 70,000 Austrians, including many prominent members of Vienna's cinematic community, were arrested because of their political beliefs or ethnicity, following the 1938 Kristallnacht, or Night of Broken Glass, during which Nazis destroyed Jewish property and sent as many as 30,000 to prison camps. This isn't happy. Is this relaxing? I don't know. I kind of want to skip this. Oh, here we go. On page 11 is where, like, the bulleted list of facts start. Oh, sorry if you heard that. My brother's being really loud. Editors left a handful of scenes from King Kong, 1933, on the cutting room floor. Okay, he's... 1 second, I'm going to text him. Oh, sorry about that. That was my pinky finger. Anyway, whatever. Editors left a handful of screen scenes from King Kong 1933 on the cutting room floor. One features the gorilla taking off actress Fay Wray's clothes. Oh. Another involves King Kong shaking a group of sailors off a bridge and into a spider-infested valley. The scene was so disturbing to a preview audience that it was removed. Lisa Minnelli, the daughter of Judy Garland, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, ended up marrying Jack Haley Jr., whose father played the Tin Man in the film. Actress Charlize Theron first got noticed while throwing a fit at Los Angeles Bank. Legend has it that the A-list actress freaked out when a teller wouldn't accept her check. A talent manager handed her his card as she was being escorted out. The cult classic Monty Python's Life of Brian, 1979, was never shown in some countries. Ireland and Norway were among several nations that banned the movie upon its release. The Aston Martin car, driven by James Bond in Goldfinger, was later sold at auction for a cool $275,000, making it one of the most expensive props to ever appear in a film. The script of Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, called for Harrison Ford's character Indiana Jones to engage in a sword fight with the enemy, a scene that would have required hours of filming. But Ford, who was weak and in pain with a nasty case of dysentery, asked director Steven Spielberg, "Can't I just shoot the guy instead?" Spielberg complied. Hollywood, a teetotaling town? I don't know what that word means. Few people realize that although Hollywood became the epicenter of the motion picture industry, the city's original planner had something different in mind. Cruising actors and painted ladies may have been some French word in certain towns, but H.H. Wilcox's haven was never intended to be one of them. Straight and narrow, apart from its abundant sunshine and favorable climate, Hollywood seems perhaps the least likely spot to base an industry that's well known for its seedier side. H.H. Wilcox founded the Southern California city not as a progressive hamlet with its eye on the ever-evolving future, but rather its polar opposite. The city was intended as a preservationist society where modern excesses would not be tolerated. That turned into something else in a story. That turned into something else. Wait, what? That it turned into something else is a story in itself. This is the place. Wilcox and his wife, Dada, arrived in Los Angeles in the mid-1880s. A real estate developer of considerable means, Wilcox purchased large tracts of land in Southern California for the purpose of resale. And like any good businessman, he was always on the lookout for more. But in 1887, tragedy struck when the couple's 19-month-old son died of typhoid fever. I lost my place. To ease their despair, the couple took carriage rides into the country. On one of those therapeutic jaunts, Wilcox spied a particularly charming patch of land featuring orange groves and apple orchards. Bordered by the picturesque Santa Monica Mountains, this particular chunk of the Chowanga Valley struck the developer as the perfect place to start a town. A town develops. The formidable challenge of establishing a town would be daunting to most. But Wilcox was well equipped for the task. Crippled by the same disease that had claimed his infant son, Wilcox had become accustomed to overcoming hardships on the way to achieving his goals. Certain of the elements that he desired for his settlement, and those that he did not. Wilcox, a strong advocate of the temperance movement, an organized effort to abolish alcohol, backed by people who saw drinking as immoral, got busy, purchasing a 120-acre expanse for his version of utopia. Wilcox offered free lots to anyone who would construct Protestant churches on the land. His goal was a society free from saloons, bordellos, and red light districts, excess that he deemed counterproductive to a clean Christian lifestyle. His wife Data came up with the name Hollywood, although it's believed that she copied it from another woman's estate. Either way, the name stuck, and the town began to ascend its ascendance to infamy. Slow growth. Unfortunately, Wilcox's hopes for an idyllic Protestant community never gained much ground. The efforts to keep the original conservationism lasted until about 1911. Population growth was agonizingly slow. There were never more than a few hundred residents in Wilcox's lifetime, and the return on his investment was disappointingly poor. When he died in 1892, Wilcox was up to his ears in land holdings, but was surprisingly cash poor. Nevertheless, Hollywood was poised to become one of the most recognizable places on earth. Unfortunately for the devoted teetotaler, the town's notoriety would come not for its virtues, but for something far different. A giant arrives. Like a condor taking nest among hummingbirds, the motion picture industry swooped down upon Hollywood in 1911. Like Florida before it, Hollywood was chosen for its frost-free climate, but the western locale also offered plenty of wide-open spaces at low prices, so that studios could own their own property. Plus, California was known for its varying terrain and landscapes. Deserts, mountains, beaches, small towns, urban centers, which allowed for a variety of genres to be filmed within a radius of a few miles. The Nestor Film Company was the first studio to set up shop there. Located in a former tavern at the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Gower Street, the modest building would soon be joined by larger studios, which triggered a veritable explosion of commerce. Banks, clubs, restaurants, hotels, movie palaces, and other supporting industries stood at the periphery, ready, willing, and able to feed the studio's trough of prosperity. Or to feed at. Not surprisingly, these new intruders met with considerable resistance and hostility from the town's original residents. Despite such protests, acres of agricultural land gave way to new housing, and existing homes were displaced in favor for commercial buildings. The economic infrastructure and the local government of Los Angeles were in favor of the burgeoning industry, and they offered incentives to the studios that the political leaders and banking institutions in Florida had not. The message was abundantly clear. The motion picture industry was there to stay. Those opposed would simply have to get out of their way. Tinseltown. Over time, the once anonymous hamlet in the Chunga Valley grew into a movie-making metropolis, with excess of every sort playing out on screen and off. The thought of people openly enjoying alcohol or walking the streets barely clothed would cause Wilcox to turn over in his grave. But today, the founder's name lives on in a bronze plaque situated at Hollywood and Vine. Curiously, the sign mentions nothing of the town's original goal of purity. Within eyesight of the market stands an assortment of bars, tattoo parlors, and places that decent people like H.H. Wilcox don't talk about. Such, it seems, is the price of progress. Behind the TV shows of our time, the globe that once appeared in the background of NBC nightly news actually spun the wrong way for years before someone caught on. The first and last lines ever spoken on Seinfeld were exactly the same. Jerry tells George, See, now to me, that button is in the worst possible spot. The second button literally makes or breaks the shirt. Look at it, it's too high. It's in no man's land. Before landing the role of Jerry Seinfeld's quirky neighbor, Kramer, Michael Richards auditioned to play Al Bundy on Married with Children. The role of Monica on Friends was offered to Janine Garofalo, who turned it down. Leah Remini, later cast in The King of Queens, also tried out for the part. The empty frame on Monica's door on Friends was supposed to have a mirror on it. After a crew member accidentally broke it, producers decided that they liked the way it looked and left it. Paul Razor plays the piano in the opening theme song of Mad About You. A sticker on Dwight Schrute's desk on the American version of The Office says Froggy 101, which is the name of an actual country music station in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where the show takes place. The Office's John Krasinski and B.J. Novak went to high school together and were in the same grade in Newton, Massachusetts. Michael Keaton began his career as a stagehand on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He helped a puppeteer and operate the trolley. Okay. I don't know who's here. Hopefully I'm not too loud either. I don't want to be loud. Okay. Let me drink some water and we'll keep going. Okay, we're now on page 16 of again, the Book of Unusual Knowledge. Alright, we're still in chapter 1, which is about movies, I think. Pretty sure. Queen of the Soaps. When two Chicago radio stations first put soap operas on the air in the 1930s, they revolutionized the broadcasting industry. Steamy romantic trysts, strained family relationships, mysterious medical conditions. These plot twists set soap operas apart from all other programming, while daytime serials have both their dedicated fans and their contemptuous detractors. There's no question that they make up one of the most enduring genres of mass media. Enter Erna. In the 1920s, the young radio industry was growing in popularity, but the majority of its regular programming went out over the airwaves at night. In both national and local markets, no one believed daytime shows could draw enough listeners to make a profit. That all changed when Erna Phillips, who was earning a living as a radio actress at Chicago's WGN, proposed that a daytime program called Painted Dreams, developed with a female audience in mind. The saga followed Mother... Hi, Ivubu. I am reading this book Misty gifted me on my Throne wish list. It's called, the title is The Book of Unusual Knowledge. There's 22 chapters. Right now we're reading about radio shows, I suppose. Yeah. I don't know if I'll read this for the whole stream. Read about these nuts. Maybe another time. But let's see. Developed with the female audience in mind, the saga followed Mother Moynihan and her troubled family. The station managers took a gamble on the 15-minute serial, which debuted in October 1930, and found an eager audience of housewives who embraced the melodrama as a welcome distraction from their daily routines. Since then, the soap opera has been a staple of daytime programming. Phillips both wrote and acted in the show for the next 2 years until an ownership dispute drove her to WMAQ, where she put on a similar show called Today's Children. She soon struck deals with the national networks and created several more daytime dramas, including The Guiding Light. Thanks almost entirely to the genre Phillips invented in Chicago, the national network saw their revenue from daytime programming triple during the 1930s. How are you, Ifaboo? Okay. Temptress, cliffhangers, and organ music. As her shows evolved, Phillips created many of the familiar conventions we all expect from a soap opera. She structured each episode as a series of brief vignettes that moved back and forth between storylines. Her shows relied on organ music to stress important actions or facial expressions, and cliffhangers kept audiences coming back day after day. She was also the first to introduce a temptress character, a conniving woman who thrives on using deception or trickery to steal men away from her competition. By the early 1940s, Phillips had five of her soap operas in national syndication, and she soon moved them to television. She gave up acting but continued to write all of the shows. At one point, she estimated that she was churning out 2 million words of script per year. She developed a peculiar working style in which she would create the scenes by acting them out herself, switching back and forth between characters. Her assistants would write up the scripts as they watched her. Over the years, Phillips created some of the best-known soap operas in American history, including Days of Our Lives and As the World Turns. Two of her employees eventually went on to create enduring soaps on their own. William Bell and Agnes Nixon, also both Chicagoans, were responsible for The Young and the Restless, One Life to Live, and All My Children. Phillips continued working on her shows from Chicago until shortly before her death in 1973, but her influence has endured to this day. During the 1990s, 8 of the 11 nationally broadcast television soaps could be traced directly to her or one of her protégés, earning Phillips the undisputed title, Queen of the Soaps. Okay, we're now on page 18 of the Book of Unusual Knowledge. Okay, Hollywood's urban legends. If there was a breeding ground for urban legends, it would be the Hollywood Hills. Simply put, people love to hear all sorts of gossip about stars and movies. The weirder the better. Here are some of the strangest urban legends that come out of Hollywood. Humphrey Bogart was the Gerber baby. Everyone knows the famous black and white drawing of the baby that graces Gerber baby food products. Well, there's an urban legend that the baby is none other than actor Humphrey Bogart. This rumor may have stemmed from the fact that Bogart's mother, Maud, was an illustrator who actually did sell drawings of her son to advertising agencies. In fact, she did allow one of her drawings of Humphrey to be used in a baby food advertisement for Millen's baby food. Gerber did not stop producing baby food until 1928, and by that time, Bogart was 29 years old, making it unlikely, but not impossible, that he was the Gerber baby. We know that Anne Turner Cook was the model. In 1928, she was drawn by artist Dorothy Hope Smith, who submitted her drawing to Gerber. In life, Disney on Ice. In life, Walt Disney warmed the hearts of millions. In death, Disney is rumored to have had himself frozen until such a time that scientists could warm him up and bring him back to life, which sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, may have been rooted in the fact that Walt Disney liked to keep his professional life private, so when he died, specifics about his burial were kept under wraps, leading to all sorts of speculation. Rumors were further fueled when Disney was buried in Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale, California, which does not publicly list who is interred there. But Disney's unfrozen remains are indeed there, in the Freedom Mausoleum, along with those of several family members. 3 men and a baby. And a ghost. There's a scene in the movie 3 Men and a Baby, 1989, in which Ted Danson's character Jack and his mother are walking through Jack's house while the mother is holding the baby. As they walk in front of a window, the ghostly image of a boy is seen standing in the background. When the characters walk by the window a second time, the voice has been replaced by what appears to be a shotgun. Legend has it that the ghost is that of a boy who accidentally shot himself to death with a shotgun in the house where the movie was filmed. Of course, the truth is a little less spooky. Who many people mistake for the boy's apparition is nothing more than a cardboard cutout of Danson, which was supposed to be part of a subplot involving Jack's appearance in a dog food commercial. And those scenes weren't filmed in the house either. They all took place on a studio set in Toronto. Okay, I don't really want to read that one based on the title. Okay, and on page 20 is famous movie quotes. Oh, I forgot to mute alerts. But hello, Neons. How are you? Did I say your name right? How are you? I hope you're having a good evening. A good Sunday night. If that's what time it is for you. Oh, 4 a.m. Spain. Oh, it's 8 p.m. for me. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you. Do you have a favorite bookmark? Do you have a favorite ASMR trigger that I can do for you? If it is within my power to do it, I will do it. If you'd like. If not, that's okay. Give me 1 second. I need to drink some water. Oh, the cotton thing? Let's see. I don't have a cotton thing. I do have these poofy makeup brushes. I'm glad you like it. That's sweet. That sounds like a nice teddy bear. I have a torso. I'll just have this blanket on. But yeah, the stains aren't blood. they're ketchup stains. Yeah. I grew up with a lot of stuffed animals, so yeah. The patches have any story? I'm not sure. My concept for my model was I really like Winnie the Pooh. So my concept was Winnie the Pooh, but instead of honey, it was ketchup. So I've got all these ketchup stains on my paws and on my cheek and ear and stuff. And I just really like older looking teddy bears, like the ones you find in your grandma's attic. I find old teddy bears quite charming. So that was my inspiration for my model. My model was made by my art mama. Yeah, classic teddy bear. It was made by Maisty. She drew it and rigged it herself. She is amazing. She is wonderful. But yes. Yeah, there's not that many teddy bear VTubers in my experience. I've met a couple. There's more than one, but there's not a whole lot of them. I'm sure there's quite a few, but I've only found a couple. There are bear VTubers, but not that many teddy bears. It is a specific concept, yeah. funny, funny hour. One second, I need to do something real quick. It's pretty hot outside, so the AC's been on like all day, so my room gets like really cold. My room gets colder it's colder in the summer than it is in the winter, which I suppose makes sense. How many Celsius? Let me check. Let's see. It's 24 degrees outside right now in Celsius. Yeah. It is, but it was snowing like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was snowing like a month into spring, and it like just stopped. It just started to warm up. This was like the first like hot weekend. So yeah. I mean, I, the state I live in is technically a desert, so. Yeah, the weather over here is pretty weird. Like, when it snowed one day, then it, was bright and sunny and like around 32 degrees or maybe 25 degrees. And yeah, it was like a 2-day difference. One day it was snowing, one day it was hot outside. And then it was snowed again. So weird. And then it rained for like a week straight. Yeah, the weather was all over the place. Oh, thank you for the follow. I'm going to say your name. Very wrong. And I apologize in advance. But thank you for the follow. Hey, go up, Don. I probably said that wrong. Drink water, thank you. Oh, I did, thank goodness. Sorry, that was my water bottle making noise. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. I came out of nowhere. And I probably wouldn't mute if I was just doing regular stream, but yeah, I, I, I only know English. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so kind of rough. That is charming in its own way, for sure. Yeah, there's like in the state I live in, there's probably like 10 different accents, all very similar, but they're different. And some states have very distinct accents, and then some you can barely tell the difference. Uh, it, you can hear it in like certain words they say. It's not like just their whole accent. It's like some specific words they say. It's very interesting. Oh yeah, that's a big part of it too. Oh yeah, um, there's like probably a lot of people that say it wrong, but they think it's right. Like if you put it through Google and listen to it, I think it says it like Worcestershire. Um, but yeah, so I think it's pronounced Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Or Worcestershire. But I'm pretty sure it's Worcestershire. I could be wrong too. It's not as fun as saying Worcestershire. Worcestershire. But I believe it's Worcestershire. has goose accent? I'm not sure I'm familiar. I probably would be if I heard it. Let me look up a video of it or something. I'll watch it later. Oh, there it is right there. Liverpool. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Should we read some more? I kind of want to just read the animals section. Let's see, it's page 128. Yeah. So, this is the Book of Unusual Knowledge by Publications International. There's no author on the cover or anything, so I don't actually know who compiled everything. But here on page 128 is chapter 5. And it is all about animals. And the first thing here is about the bat bombs. There we go. We'll move to page 130. Back from the brink. By the end of World War II, the population of the Japanese Akita, which is a dog breed, if I remember, had dwindled to near extinction, with only 16 dogs remaining. One man made it his mission to bring them back. In 1944, Morisawa Taishi was an engineer working in northern Japan's snow country when he heard an alarming rumor. People were killing their Akitas, selling their pelts to Japanese soldiers, and as food became scarce, eating the meat. Mori couldn't believe it. When he was a boy, the Akita had been declared a national treasure. What had changed? Dog tired. Quite simply, Akitas were no longer hip. Even before the war, the Japanese had grown tired of their native snow dogs and wanted something novel and foreign. Akita seemed like throwbacks to the 19th century, when the dogs were admired for their fearlessness. Akitas were known to corner bears. In 1927, a preservation society was founded to protect the dogs, but that didn't boost the pup's popularity. They did get good publicity from Hachiko, the Akita who arrived at a Tokyo train station every day to greet his master. Even 9 years after the man's death, a bronze statue of Hachiko was erected in 1935, and he became a symbol of loyalty. But by 1944, the statue had been melted down for metal. So much for loyalty. Canine contraband. Although Mori had never been what you'd call a dog person, he felt compelled to do something. He heard rumors about a puppy for sale, the granddaughter of a prize-winning Akita. Mori paid the breeder 6 times his salary for her. Mori never named the dog, which he kept hidden in a small shed and walked only in the late night and early morning hours to avoid detection. As his work took him across snow country, he covertly inquired about other Akitas. By the time the war ended in 1945, Mori had put together a list. Only 16 purebreds remained, and 2 belonged to him. He had also bought a male for breeding. Back in the pack, in the spring of 1946, a litter of puppies on the way. Mori held the first post-war dog show at his home. Nearly 50 Akitas were present, but it was hard to believe that they were the same breed. Use of malnutrition and crossbreeding with foreign dogs had given them a hodgepodge of features. What's more, no one could agree on which features were ideal. Everyone felt that the ears should be erect and tails curved, butchered bodies be lean or stocky, heads round or sharp. Debate aside, Mori was just pleased to spark a dialogue and turn attention back to the breed. Bred and ready. Attention turned to frenzy in the early 1950s after an ad campaign featured a famous Japanese actress with her Akita. Think Paris Hilton with her purse-sized Chihuahua. American GIs clamored for the dog. Suddenly, everyone in Japan was an Akita breeder. Everyone except Mori, that is. Rather than sell his dogs for profit, he gave them away to the people he knew, keeping and breeding the ones he thought had the strongest features, and most importantly, Kisho, spirit. For more than 60 years, Mori raised and trained Akitas, 100 in all. His last dog, Shiro, died in late 2007 at age 15. Mori followed a year later at age 92. In 1937, Helen Keller brought the first Akita to the United States. She also moved when she heard this story of. She was so moved when she heard this story of Hachiko while visiting Japan that she wanted a dog just like him. The Akita takes its name from the Akita prefecture. Am I saying that right, Akita? Or the Akita? I feel like Akita is right. A district in Japan's snow country. The statue honoring Hachiko was recreated in 1948. Plastic panic. What's killing India's cows? Plastic shopping bags. They're not eco-friendly, but who knew they weren't e-cow friendly? In India, where the cow is sacred, plastic bags are more than just an environmental mess. They're a holy health hazard. Sick cows. In India, it's pretty typical to see cattle. There are more than 200 million of them in the country, roaming the streets to feed on the city's garbage. But in 2000, a police officer in the city of Lucknow noticed a strange phenomenon. Skeletal cows with engorged bellies dropping dead in the street, sometimes as many as 100 a day. Other sick-looking cows were seen staggering over the dumpsters, but then walking away instead of eating as usual. A few of these sick cows were corralled to the vet, where they were anesthetized and their stomachs surgically examined. Inside, the doctors found plastic bags, up to 60 pounds of them. Apparently, the cows had eaten the bags along with whatever food was tucked inside. The cow's stomachs, they have 4 of them. It's not technically 4 stomachs, it's just a 4-chambered stomach. were so full of plastic that the animals could no longer eat. The cows were starving to death as a result. What's more, India's Animal Husbandry Department found that drinking milk from the sick cows could cause cancer and tuberculosis. Oof. That's not good. Plastic boom. Plastic bags have only been in India since the mid-1980s, when the government authorized plastic production to help the nation compete in the global market. More than 50% of India's plastic is used for packaging, and nearly all of it is thrown away, which creates a major waste problem in a country that's otherwise known for its recycling efforts. No joke. In India, glass bottles are used over and over again and repaired if broken. Plastic mechanics make house calls to fix broken items with heat fusion. Anything broken or worn beyond repair is picked up by rag pickers. Yeah. Hi Rengoku. How are you doing? It's good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend. That's a cute emote. And anything broken or worn beyond repair is picked up by rag pickers, a low caste of people who scavenge and sell garbage or whatever they can get. There's the rub-ish. In the trash selling game, plastic usually sells for 12 rupees. Rupees a kilo, about 14 cents a pound. But plastic bags are so thin that even a bunch of them don't weigh enough to be worth much, hence plastic bag pollution. Although a few local governments tried to ban plastic bags in the late 1990s, it wasn't until 2000, with the lives of sacred cows suddenly at risk, a national solution was sought. You're sick? Oh no, I hope you feel better. That's not good. Is it just a cold? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Please don't tell me if you don't want to. I'm just curious. Thicker bags. Why ban the bags? Asked the plastic industry when we can just make them thicker. This way rag pickers would take the bags, keeping them off the streets and out of the cows' bellies. Both the government, which was making a pretty penny selling things in plastic pouches, and the plastics industry agreed this was a win-win solution. A new rule was made. All plastic bags must be thicker than 20 microns, about 78 of 100,000 of an inch. Oh no. I had the flu last year in February. It was not a good time. It was not a good time. I hope you get better sooner, Goku. Unfortunately, the plastics industry also continued to make the thinner bags, which shopkeepers unwittingly continued to use. After all, who can tell the difference between 19 microns and 21 microns? Rumor had it that the government officials, equipped with special bag thickness testing instruments, were stopping by stores to enforce the new rule. But for the most part, the situation didn't and hasn't changed. Still, hope hasn't been bagged entirely. The polyethylene agony campaign, launched in 2000, is dedicated to educating people about the dangers of plastic bags and how to dispose of them properly. As for the afflicted cows, India's Animal Husbandry Department provides rhumatomies or plastic bag ectomies to restore them to health. Sorry, I just smacked the mic. Excuse me. Is there a trigger you would like, Rengoku? I'd be happy to do it for you. now on page 134 of the Book of Unusual Knowledge. Incredible bat facts. It isn't easy being a bat. Thanks to Dracula, a few cases of rabies, their pointy teeth, and the fact that they hang upside down to sleep. Bats inspire fear in many people, but as you'll see, bats are amazing creatures that eat bugs and sometimes drink blood. Bats are the only mammals that can fly. And you thought it was the winged marmoset. Bats are exceptional in the air. Their wings are thin, giving them what's called, in flight terms, airfoil. The power bats have to push forward is called propulsion. Plastic tapping, if I can definitely do that. Let's see. This down here. I got this lid to a thermos. Want a smooch? Okay. Let me put this back real quick. And drink some water real quick. Okay, you ready, Rangoku? Here comes your smooch. I'm charging it, yeah. Okay. I'll give you one in each ear. Just for you. Oh my wobble. Should never. How is that, Rangoku? Was that to your liking? What's it? It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. Okay. And an RR. Okay. I haven't done that one in a while. It's not gonna be as good as the smooches. But here we go. It is indeed. I haven't watched Dora in probably more than 10 years. I mean, that's probably not surprising, but yeah, I probably haven't sat down for an episode of Dora for a long time. We are not the same. When did that Dora movie come out? In 2019? Feels like that was last year. It came out in 2019? Holy smokes. Yeah, I watched, I was more of a Diego kid. I didn't watch Dora so much. I watched Diego more. I have a Diego. I have a few episodes of Diego on disc that I watched quite often when I was little because there were dinosaurs in it. Lazy Town? I don't know what channel that was on. I can't remember what channel that was on. I didn't watch it very often. To my, yeah, I don't remember what channel it was on. It might have only been on weekends. Or like early morning. I didn't watch it very much. Okay. Good night, Rengoku. Good night, good night. Good night, good night. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night. Sleep well. Brush your teeth. And drink some water. Good night, Rengoku. Good night, good night. Sorry about that. That one came out of nowhere. some Beyblade. Yeah. I only ever saw anime on Saturdays on WB4 Kids. It was like episodes of I felt like random episodes of Dragon Ball. I think it was Dragon Ball Z Kai. Pretty sure it was Dragon Ball Z Kai. And Izuma 11. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Oh, Inazuma. Oh. Oh, it started airing in 2008. And there were DS games. Cool. Oh, okay. It looks like it's getting a new game this year. Cool, cool. I saw a bit of some Beyblade anime on the Cartoon Network. I didn't know anything about Beyblade. I was a Bakugan kid. I still am a Bakugan kid. Hmm. Yeah, I grew up Mormon, so I didn't even know shows like Family Guy existed. I had my parents used to watch Simpsons, and they stopped when I got older, and I could like understand what was even happening. So, um, yeah. I was a PBS Kids kid. Growing up, it was mostly educational programming for kids. I watched when I was like in kindergarten, so before even like first grade in elementary. I watched Barney. It was an episode of Magic School Bus, and then an episode of Barney and Friends, and then I had to go to kindergarten. And watched the heck out of Zaboomafoo. I heckin' love Zaboomafoo. No, I totally get it. I only speak English and I still struggle with that stuff. English is hard. I totally get it. No, I was born in 2000. I am 23 years old as of Tuesday. My birthday was on the 25th. Yeah. So I watched a regular show. Not very often because I think it was on kind of late on Cartoon Network. I watched, I really liked Adventure Time and The Amazing World of Gumball. Those were the ones I watched most of the time on Cartoon Network. And I think Cartoon Network also had the Pokemon anime for the black and white era, Gen 5. I think that's where the Pokemon anime aired. So I watched that there too. And did they have the X and Y anime too? I can't remember. Yeah. I'm kind of sad it's over, but it's okay. Aren't they doing like there's a new Adventure Time? I don't know if it's on Cartoon Network or what, or if it's on a streaming service. I wouldn't know. Yeah, there's plenty of Adventure Time to rewatch. I just don't know where you can find it these days. Hmm. Yeah, they do reruns unless there wasn't a new episode every week. Yeah. I remember the Tandemore Elephant episode, and I think I saw they aired the episode when they get the Enchiridion a couple times. That was a pretty good episode. My the tandem war elephant, the flying elephant with two heads, and it shoots lasers out of its trunk. The tandem war elephant. Tandem like a tandem bike, a bike with two seats. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was the tandem war elephant in English. But my favorite episode was War Telepath Double Elephant. Oh, okay. And then my favorite episode was Card Wars. I love that episode so much. And the episode when Jake makes the best sandwich ever, or whatever. That was pretty good. I don't know if there were any bad episodes of Adventure Time. You know, I feel like they're all decent at worst. I don't remember ever watching an episode and thinking, man, that was kind of bad. You know. There are 283 not elephants. There are 283 episodes of Adventure Time. Did they ever? Oh, there's. Okay. They made a complete series of Adventure Time. Thank goodness. That's true too. That's very true. Okay. Rest well. I hope you get some sleep. Please do. And make sure you brush your teeth. Have a good night. Yeah, okay. I need to put this on my wish list for Christmas. Because it's every season of Adventure Time. It's not Blu-ray though, it's just DVD. Which is fine, but it's got all 10 seasons on it. It's got a documentary on with the cast and crew, a documentary on the music, live performances, and more. And it's like a pop-up book. It is so cool. is really creaky. Alright, this is page 134 of the Book of Unusual Knowledge by Publications International. I don't know, there's no author on here. But, let's see, a single brown bat can catch around 1,200 mosquito-sized insects in an hour. It's estimated that the 20 million Mexican free-tailed bats that live in Bracken Cave in Texas eat about 200 tons of insects every night. That's a lot of bugs. Vampire bats don't suck blood. They lap it up. Calm down. There are only 3 species of vampire bats in the whole world, if you're traveling in Central or South America. However, you might see a vampire bat bite a cow and then lick blood from the wound. No sucking involved. Bats don't have fat days. The metabolism of a bat is enviable. They can digest bananas, mangoes, and berries in about 20 minutes. Wow. The average bat will probably outlive your dog. The average lifespans of bats vary depending on the species, but some types of brown bat can live to be 30 years old. Considering that many other small mammals live only 2 years or so, that's impressive. Bats wash behind their ears. Bats spend more time grooming themselves than even the most image-obsessed teenager. They clean themselves and each other meticulously by licking and scratching for hours. Bats use echolocation to get around in the dark. Bats are nocturnal, mostly because it's easier to hunt bugs and stay out of the way of predators when it's dark. But bats don't see very well, so they have to rely on navigational methods other than sight. And in order to get around, bats send out beeps and listen for variations in the echoes that bounce back at them. Bats do use their eyesight to see things in the daytime, but most bat business is conducted under the blanket of darkness for convenience. Fewer than 10 people in the last 50 years have contracted rabies from North American bats. Due to television and movies, bats are thought to be German machines, bringing disease and toxins to innocent victims. Not true. Bats avoid people. If you're bitten by a bat, go to the doctor, but don't start making funeral arrangements. You'll probably be fine. Bats make up a quarter of all mammals. Yep, you read that right. A quarter of all mammals are bats. There are more than 1,100 species of bats in the world. That's a lot of bats. More than 50% of the bat species in the United States are either in severe decline or are listed as endangered. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. Industry, deforestation, pollution, and good old-fashioned killing have wiped out many bats in their habitats. For information on how to help keep bats around, contact your local conservation society. Cold night, curl up next to a bat. Inside those drafty caves they like so much, bats keep warm by folding their wings around themselves, trapping air against their bodies for instant insulation. An anticoagulant found in vampire bat saliva may soon be used to treat human cardiac patients. The same stuff that keeps blood flowing from vampire bats' prey seem to keep blood flowing in human beings too. Scientists in several countries are trying to copy the enzymes found in vampire bat saliva to help treat heart conditions and stop the effects of strokes in humans. Alright, on the next page here are presidential pets. Nearly all of the American presidents have had pets, but don't assume that all these presidential pals were pooches. Early first pets. George Washington started the presidential cavalcade of critters. According to the Presidential Pets Museum in Williamsburg, Virginia, George and Martha had numerous hounds with names such as Tipsy and Sweet Lips. Horses named Nelson and Blueskin, and a parrot. Thomas Jefferson kept 2 bear cubs that adventurers Lewis and Clark brought back from their journeys. The Marquis de Lafayette gave John Quincy Adams an alligator, and the Sultan of Oman gave von Buren 2 tiger cubs. James Buchanan was given a herd of elephants from the King of Siam. Wow. Hail to the chief zookeepers. Theodore Roosevelt and Calvin Coolidge have had so many pets that they could have hosted a wild kingdom. Roosevelt's menagerie included snakes, guinea pigs, bears, kangaroo rats, owls, a flying squirrel, a lion, a hyena, and a zebra. Coolidge matched him with various breeds of dogs and cats, raccoons, canaries, a bear, a donkey, a bobcat, a wallaby, lion cubs, and a pygmy hippo. Vote getters. Some pets are credited with helping turn political fortunes. When Franklin Roosevelt thundered that critics couldn't pick on his little dog, Fala, it reportedly helped him win the 1944 election. And even though he wasn't president at the time, Richard Nixon's Checkers speech is credited with saving his spot on the Eisenhower ticket. War horses, literally. Horses were critical on Civil War battlefields, and many sacrificed their lives for the cause. More than 1 million horses and mules perished during the Civil War. Horses went through rigorous training to prepare for battle. In what were essentially equine boot camps, they were taught simple commands as well as strategies for protecting their riders under fire. Acting as a shield, a trained horse could drop to the ground to protect its rider from gunfire and provide cover from where the soldier could return shots. However, this also put the horses directly in the line of fire. Horse heroes. Some horses achieved levels of fame on par with those of their human officers. General Lisa Mount Traveler was well known for his stamina and bravery. After the war, people who saw Lee ride by would pluck hairs from Traveler's tail as a memento of the honored veteran. Union General George Meade's horse Old Baldy was a powerful steed that accompanied him in his victory at Gettysburg. Old Baldy is said to have been wounded as many as 14 times. Despite the beating he took during the war, he lived to the ripe old age of 30 and outlived his master. Today, his mounted head is on display at the Civil War and Underground Railroad Museum in Philadelphia. A coin value. The Union Army bought horses in bulk, but in the Confederacy, many soldiers had to bring their own steeds, for which they were paid 40 cents per day. At the end of the war, Lee asked Grant to allow defeated soldiers to keep their horses in order to help plant crops at home. Grant didn't hesitate to agree. Freaky animal facts. The female boomslang, a type of African tree snake, looks so much like a tree branch that birds, its main prey, will land right on it. The koala, which is not actually a bear but a primitive marsupial that has existed in its present form for more than 1 million years, almost got all the liquid it needs. Gets almost all the liquid it needs from licking dew off tree leaves. The emperor penguin of the Antarctic has equality of the sexes down pat. The female lays the egg, but the male has a brood pouch, a roll of skin, and feathers between its legs that drops over the egg. He must then protect the egg and keep it still for 2 months until it hatches and the female returns to feed the chick. When the male snowy owl wishes to arouse a female, he dances while swinging a dead lemming from his beak. Okay. Roadrunners take no-holds-barred approach to killing rattlesnakes. They jab at snakes with their sharp bills, shake them, body slam them, and then administer the final peck in the head before devouring their prey head first. The laziest mammals are armadillos, sloths, and opossums. They spend 80% of their lives sleeping or dozing. Vultures sometimes eat so much they can't take off in flight. The oldest bird on record was Cocky, a cockatoo who died at the London Zoo at the age of 82. 82 years old, an 82-year-old bird. That bird will probably be older than me. I don't think I'm gonna live that long, but we'll see. Every year, approximately 3,000 birds collide with U.S. Air Force planes, causing an estimated $60 million in damages. 9 banded armadillos have identical quadruplets every time they give birth. Huh. Okay. Well, let's find someone to raid now. I don't know who's here, but let's see. All right, let's see. Give me a second to swap headphones. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. That person has follower-only chat. Okay. Alright, we'll raid Grills. He's not super loud, so I don't think he'll wake anybody up. Okay. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the follows. Neons and Higwapton. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll probably be playing Coffee Talk. And, yeah, I'll set my schedule tomorrow. But, yeah, tomorrow's Coffee Talk, probably. I've just been wanting to play Pokemon all day. So, we'll see. But, Coffee Talk sounds like fun. So I think that's what we'll do. But, have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. Night. Brush your teeth. Get some rest. And, sweet dreams. And, drink some water. And I'll see you tomorrow. Be nice to Grills. He's great. He's playing Teamfight Tactics, but he's cool. I like Grills. No doubt. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.